Hi dear friends, today we will be dealing with chapter 7 of the history portion of class 10. We have already seen how the Britishers were opposed by the people in India, mostly by the kings to protect their own kingdoms, and various other protests were also there. Let us see how a national movement took shape to protest against the British and to form a country of our own, that is India. We will be discussing how a nationalism has come up, a sentiment of one nation attitude had come up among the Indian people. We could never imagine those days people thinking about one nation, because our country was divided into small principalities or kingdoms, and each king was interested in their own kingdom only, and they wanted to protect their own kingdom. And then later on we have seen a lot of policies brought in by the Britishers, like land tax systems, and farmers were in a way persecuted, and farmers also started protests all over the country. And another remarkable protest against the Britishers was in 1857. We have already learned that 1857, first war of Indian independence. The Britishers call it Sepoy Mutiny. We already discussed in details in the previous chapter what has happened in 1857. These were the major protests from India against the Britishers. As a result of this 1857 Sepoy Mutiny, or first war of Indian independence, Queen of England said that hereafter East India Company need not rule India. They can do business, but no ruling India, no governing India. Instead, the governing part will be done by the Queen, the British Queen. So East India Company had no such kind of authority or power over the Indians. Only British Queen had. So from 1858 onwards, Queen's rule was introduced in India. And also in 1861, a special act was brought in to involve more Indians in the government. Involve Indians in the government doesn't mean they will be elected. No, they will be selected, that is nominated. The Britishers will appoint some people to be the part of the government. So in that way, they wanted to appease or please the Indians. And also, educated people started educating the rest of Indians. The uneducated were educated by the educated. And the educated had great knowledge, vast knowledge about freedom struggle in other countries as well. So they began to teach these uneducated people that we have to stand together and fight against the Britishers for our freedom. And then a feeling of nationalism started slowly coming up. People started thinking we have to stand united and fight against the British. We have to become one nation. So that kind of attitude or feeling has slowly come in the mind of people. Then a concrete shape for this feeling of nationalism we can see in Indian National Congress. So many people felt in the same way. So a concrete shape for that, or in a way we can say a big association of that, has taken shape, concrete shape in Indian National Congress. And now we will see how Indian National Congress was formed. Initially, there were different associations with this kind of outlook, this kind of attitude, nationalistic outlook. And one of them was the Hindu Mela, and the second, All Indian Association. And there was also Pune Public Sabha and the Indian Association. So these four were the major associations which had nationalistic outlook. They also promulgated same idea that we should become one nation. Then also journals were published against the British government. Newspapers, journals started publishing, attacking or criticizing the policies of a British government. So what did the British government do? Especially Lord Lytton, he brought in an act called Vernacular Press Act. What is this Vernacular Press Act? Vernacular means regional language. Vernacular language means regional language like Kannada, Tamil, Malayalam, Telugu and so on. There are vernacular language. So there was an act called Vernacular Press Act by Lord Lytton. What was it? The main aim of this Vernacular Press Act was to control the independence of independent press. So they did not want, the Britishers did not want the vernacular language press journals to publish anything against the British interest. And he is Lytton, Earl Lytton. What is this Vernacular Press Act? It was modelled on the Irish Press Act. This act provided the government with extensive rights to censor reports and editorials in the vernacular press. So the government had freedom to edit the editorials or the news pieces, and government could keep regular track of vernacular newspapers, and if reports judged as seditious, the newspapers were warned. If suppose the newspaper content is against the government, they could warn them, and if still continued, they could be asked to close down. And same reports, the British had no problem if it was published in English, because it will be read by educated people, because their concept about the Indian local people or ordinary people were that Indians are ignorant, excitable and helpless class. So they said, suppose they read this kind of news pieces, they will react, they will get agitated and they will be excited and they will go forward in a fight against the Britishers. They did not want this to happen. Because of all these problems, we can say all these problems put together brought in Indian National Congress. All these problems led to the formation of Indian National Congress. Indian National Congress, where was it born? It was born in Bombay at the National Convention. And when was it born? It was born in 1885. And the first president was W.C. Banerjee. He is W.C. Banerjee, and one of the prominent person who had a vital role to play in the formation of Indian National Congress was A.O. Hume. A.O. Hume. He is A.O. Hume. You should keep all these points in mind. What are the prime aim, or what is the main core aim of Indian National Congress? The main aim is to achieve national unity. This Indian National Congress was formed with the main aim to achieve national unity. They do not want to get freedom immediately or fight for freedom, but they want to unite all Indians together and then start fighting against the Britishers. And more newspapers were also published in different languages, and people started reading them, and people started fighting against the Britishers, or they started getting united to fight against the Britishers, and the Britishers were very, very upset with that. So they wanted to make sure that there is no unity among Indians. So they had a policy known as divide and rule policy. They brought in a policy called divide and rule. They knew that there is some tension between between different religions. So they wanted to bring in that division more and more and make use of that. So they wanted two religions fight with each other, and then they will forget about achieving freedom. So that is called a divide and rule policy. Later on, in the Indian National Congress itself, differences differences of opinion also started coming up. In the beginning, all people from 1885, from the formation of Indian National Congress to 1905, we can say all were having same pattern of thought. But later, people in Indian National Congress started thinking differently. So we can say there are two types, two categories of people in Indian National Congress. One was moderates and the other one was radicals. One was moderates and the other one was radicals. We will be dealing in an elaborate way what do we mean by this moderates. Moderates, from the word itself we know moderation. Moderation means a middle path. You are taking a middle path. For example, if one person eats very little and the other one eats plenty of food, the person with moderation will be taking the middle path. He will be eating what is necessary for health. That is called moderation. They say be moderate in everything. So here also the people, the leaders were moderates. Moderates means they did not go for straight away fighting with the Britishers or use weapons. They wanted very peaceful, calmful method and ask for freedom and slowly get it. Because we will see who are all these moderates. Main persons among them were W.C. Banerjee, M.G. Ranade, Surendranath Banerjee, Dadabhai Nauroji and Gopalakrishna Gokhale. These were the main moderates. What are the main characteristics of these moderates? They had great faith in British government and judiciary. They had faith thinking that they will give us what we ask, and also these moderates presented their demands through memorandums. Through memorandums they submitted the demands to the Britishers. What were the main demands placed by these moderates? One was cut down the military expenditure. Lot of expenditure was there, First World War, Second World War and so on. So they wanted to cut down the military expenditure and use it for development of Indian industries. Indian industries should be developed and give good education to people and also conduct programs to remove poverty completely from India. And what method they used? The method they used was prayers and requesting them, and they pray for it. So that was the method used by moderates. And they also created political awareness among the people by conducting meetings, organized various meetings to create a political awareness among the people. And also they brought in a theory called the drain theory. They said the Britishers are draining our wealth. What do you mean by drain? Drain means, suppose I have a bottle of water here, I prick with a pin, the complete water comes out and the whole bottle gets drained out. The whole water goes out. That is called draining something. Here draining means draining India's wealth. So draining India's wealth. How do the Britishers drain India's wealth? That is by encouraging import and discouraging export. What do you mean by encouraging import and discouraging export? Exporting means we know we make a lot of things in India. Those days a lot of toys and silk, these clothes, all these things were made in India, hand woven clothes or handmade goods and so on. So these things were exported to England. Suppose that toy was costing only 100 rupees here. When it was exported, the government there, British government says 200% of tax should be given by the people, those who buy there. So what will happen? 100 plus 200, the price of that toy will become 300 in Britain. Then what will happen? Those people, they will not buy that, because the product which is produced there itself will be costing only 150 rupees. Then why should we buy from outside for 300 rupees? So there will not be demand for Indian goods there. Then we will not be getting that foreign money to India. But the Britishers encouraged import. They wanted the goods to be brought in from England to India and to be sold here. And in India, those things were cheaper because they were all using machines to make products. so they can make more products. Indians were carving with the chisel and hammer and so on. They are doing it with machines. Indians may be able to make 10 toys in a day. They will be able to make 1,000 toys in a day. So naturally their product will be cheaper. So the people in India will buy those things since it is cheaper here. Then what happens? The money that is paid for that will be taken to Britain. So like that, slowly complete wealth of India was taken to Britain. That is called drain theory. And we will see another category of leaders in Indian National Congress from 1905. They are called as radicals. Main people among them were Aurobindo Ghosh, Lala Lajpat Rai, Bipin Chandra Pal, and Bala Gangadhar Tilak. They said this radicals told these moderates are political beggars. They are going and begging for freedom to the Britishers. So they did not want, the radicals want to fight and get a complete freedom. So they were also, the radicals were also against Indians being nominated to assembly. So the government, British government, to please the Indians, they were taking some people from Indian people and making them as a part of the government. That is nominating, not electing. So the British will select whom they like. So they will select the people who will support them. So the policies will be in favor of the British. But this idea, radicals were against that. They said we don't want such kind of nominations to be done in the assembly. And also they wanted complete freedom. Now we go to partition of Bengal. We already seen divide and rule policy, how they made use in the partition of Bengal. Present Bengal, West Bengal, and this Bangladesh, they were together forming one Bengali speaking area, we can say. What did the Britishers do? Britishers understood that the East Bengal, that is present Bangladesh, was consisting of mainly Muslim population, and West Bengal was consisting mainly of a Hindu population. So they divided that into two, as East Bengal and West Bengal. They said we are dividing for the purpose of administration, so that it will be easy to administer. But actually they were dividing into two on the basis of religion, so that they will start fighting with each other and then they will forget about fighting against the Britishers. So in 1905, Bengal was partitioned by Lord Curzon in 1905. Then the radicals fought strongly against that. They said, no, we cannot accept this. So the radicals told the people in India, boycott foreign goods. They said, don't buy foreign goods, and ask the people, use local goods, don't buy foreign goods, and organized a Raksha Bandhan and cultural festivals. Raksha Bandhan, we know there will be a lot of unity among people with this. And also they organized Ganesha, Shivaji, Durga festivals to unite people. And a lot of agitations took place. As a result, what happened in 1911? This was withdrawn. So in 1911, this was withdrawn, and again Bengal became one again. So 1905 to 1911, Bengal was East Bengal and West Bengal. From 1911, again it became one Bengal. Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it. Bal Gangadhar Tilak very strongly said, we want freedom, complete freedom. It is my birthright and we want to get it. And to promulgate his idea, what did he do? He published journals. One was in Marathi known as Kesari, and one was in English known as the Maratha. In English was known as Maratha. And people started reading his books and his journals, and people started agitating against or fighting against the Britishers. So the Britishers arrested him and imprisoned him. And in the prison, he wrote one more big book known as Gita Rahasya. These are all about radicals. Now we will see how Muslim League was formed, like Indian National Congress. Muslim League was formed in 1906. The main aim of it was to protect Muslim identity and also to fight against the Britishers to obtain freedom. So this is a flag of a Muslim League. Then we go to next category of people in Indian National Congress slowly. So first was moderates, radicals. Then we come to another category of people slowly coming out. They are known as revolutionaries. They wanted complete freedom like radicals, but their method was different. We will see that. Who are the main people? Aurobindo Ghosh was a radical, became a revolutionary later on, and V.D. Savarkar, and the other person is Ashwini Kumar Datta and Bhagat Singh. You know Bhagat Singh, much I've already read and seen about him in the pictures and so on, and how he was hanged at the end. These people wanted complete freedom, and how the method was different. Their main aim was complete freedom like radicals, and their method was violence. And what type of violence they used? They used bombs and guns, and they also organized secret associations, because people cannot, those who are using violent method, they cannot form association and come out in public, they will be arrested. So they did not want that to do, so they had secret associations, especially to collect a fund. They wanted to collect a fund and weapons to fight against the Britishers, and they conducted a lot of training to use weapons, how to use weapons against the Britishers. And secret organizations were not only formed in India but also abroad. Some of the main ones were in abroad. One was in England, it was known as Lotus and Dagger, and in one was in USA, and that was known as Ghadar Party, and two were in India, that is Abhinav Bharata and Anushilan Samadhi. Abhinav Bharata and Anushilan Samadhi, these were the secret organizations. And what was the result of all this fight, all this revolution? There was no much result in this. This was not a successful one. This revolution was not successful one, because Britishers had better weapons, so they fought back. So it was not success, because these people were arrested and put in prison or hanged to death. So slowly this revolution subsided. Some radicals, we can say, became revolutionaries. We have already seen Aurobindo Ghosh. So dear students, we have already seen today how in Indian National Congress there were two categories of people in the beginning. That is, the starting it was only moderates. Then after 20 years, radicals came up, and later on we see revolutionaries forming, and how Bengal was divide and use policy used by the Britishers, and Muslim League was formed. All this we have seen today. Please make sure to go through the text once again thoroughly and study well, and we will be continuing with this chapter in the next class. Thanks for watching.